Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the second session of Making Money Moves. First, before we get into things, I hope everyone had a great weekend. For me, today was kind of tough today. I don't know. I just couldn't get my mojo together today. But nonetheless, I am definitely grateful that, I was able to get up this morning because, as we all know, some people didn't have that luxury of waking up to start over again. So I definitely, appreciate that. Again, I hope everyone had an awesome weekend. And we're going to just plunge into this making money moves second session. Now, the first session we touched on a lot of information. One of the things that we talked about is saving money. What does that look like, and basically, what does that look like to you? We talked about mindset change. I am a believer that in order for anything to manifest, you have to have a mindset change. So it's really having an understanding about what money is, how you can make or monopolize the money that you earn. So we had that conversation. Um, and again, like I said, we talked about the mindset change. We also talked about like how you view your money. I am finding that how you really view your money, look at your money, what is your perception of your money, that has a great deal to do with having a better relationship with your money. So if you look at your money basically and say that, okay, I just got paid today and I know by the end of today or tomorrow I'm going to be broke, that's just what is going to happen. That's what will manifest. So how you view money, all of that leaks into the mindset change. So really like having a better understanding about your hard earned money. So we talked about having a good relationship with money. We talked about maximizing your money. We talked about identifying what you really spend your money on. And when I say identify, what I mean is know what you spend your money on, but write it down. Have like a ledger about what you spend your money on. And the reason is because you should be able to look at those items and say, well, you know what, I can make a change, or you know what, I could cut back in this particular area, or I can eliminate this spending habit, So, and my thing that I always go to, and I tell people all the time that me and Amazon have become best friends. And so, with that being stated, really for me, looking at, okay, why are you spending this money? Really having like that internal kind of conversation. Are these things that I'm ordering, are they things I absolutely need, or are they a want? So really having that deep understanding about the money that you're spending, because again, is your hard-earned money. And so once we understand, number one, that we work very hard for our money, and then number two, to have a better relationship, I need to understand what I'm spending my money on. So I believe that once that you have that understanding, then you're able to make changes as needed. So we talked about that. We talked about saving matters, and I said that a few minutes ago. And we talked about how you spend your money. So all of that falls under the umbrella of understanding my money will help me and my family to elevate or not. So having that basic understanding my money will help me if you're, are individual by yourself to elevate, or my money can help me and my family to elevate if you are attached to a family. So having that basic understanding about money. So um, last week we did have a home assignment. So the home assignment was really to think about realistically, um, how, well, think about you realistically and how you could change your mindset to maximize what you earn. And so that's really, and the reason why I had that as a homework assignment is basically because I think once because the information that we talked about was definitely a lot of information. And so I wanted to leave you with that homework just so that you could kind of set in that moment and really, for a week, for 7 days, to really think about it, write it down, and then maybe write like an action plan if you want to change like some habits. And so that is why I gave you that particular home assignment. And so some of the responses that I got back, they were interesting to say the least. I did have a few people that followed through with the home assignment, and so if any of you are not able to attend any session, and you want to catch up on the assignments, these assignments are, to me, are not anything that is like, it takes, Einstein, to figure out. It's just so that you can have that connectivity between yourself and your financial situation. So nothing that I give you is going to be like solving a calculus problem, but it is something that I feel that it just makes you think a little bit and maybe think about things that you haven't necessarily thought about before. And so some of the responses that I did receive, and thank you for those who participated, it was just very interesting. And, hopefully when folks feel comfortable enough, when they come back to the forum, they can go ahead and, share some of those things that um, they felt that, you know, maybe it's a mindset change, right? So mindset change equals to how can I further maximize my money. So hopefully, in the future we can hear from folks. Um, all right. And so this session is we're going to talk about what I call the clean B word, because we always hear about the dirty B word, but now we're going to talk about the clean B word. And so the B word that I am referring to is the budget. And the reason why we're going to talk about the budget is because from doing this for a while, what I clearly understand is that with most of us, we know what we earn in our heads, right? And we also know the money that we have to spend, right? It's all up here. It's all up here. And very rarely do we write it down, right? And I'm a person that believes that, in some things, when you want to make a change, you have to put it in writing. And so what I'm learning and what I've learned with engaging with a lot of folks is that um, the budget is all internal, it's all in our brains, but it's not down on paper. And so just working with people to understand what a budget is, what it should entail, and really your budget is your financial plan. Without going into financial planning too deep, but your budget is essentially your financial plan to say, this is the money that I get in, these are my bills, these are my extracurricular activities, for myself and my families, and this is what I have left over. And what should I do with the money that I have left over? So that's basically what a budget is about. But to give it like a form, right? Some people just like things to be in a formal kind of setting. So, what should my budget look like? Okay. One thing that I tell people is that you make your budget your own so that you can understand it. Absolutely. There are a million different templates out there to give you an example of what a budget is. But what I find is most helpful is that when people first just understand what a budget should comprise of, and then they kind of make it their own. Just recently, probably month ago now, I was working with a group of residents, and I gave them a template. Now, I understood the template. I got it off the internet. I understood it, and I just thought that, okay, it looks, cool to me. And so, but when I was trying to get them to understand it, I, saw it like almost right off the back that it was a problem. And it's because that basically they didn't understand the budget and what should be entailed in the budget. And so they couldn't kind of visualize, the concept that I was trying to teach. So let's just talk about it real quick. All right, your budget, right? I said a few moments ago that your budget should um, be what should be included into your budget. It should definitely be your income. So I believe everybody knows what the definition of income is, and that's basically what you earn. I don't care whether or not you're working or you're receiving disability, that is still income. That is money that's coming into your home. So that is considered income. What I have learned is that a lot of people don't really understand that even if they get money from social service or even if they get money from child support, that they don't look at that as income. Their definition of income is money that you work for. But to clarify that, income is any money funds coming into the home, whether it's on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, monthly basis, just long as money is coming into the home. Okay, so to clear that definition up, um, income is money just coming to the home. So income definitely has to be included in your budget. Okay, and then the next thing is the expenses. Now, this is a tricky one. I found that people were getting a little confused even with the expenses. So when I sat down with people, again, it was a group of residents, and we were talking about the budget and its whole. We talked about the income, getting a clear definition of income. The next one that people were having a problem with were the expenses. Now, when I explained to them, I said, well, write your expenses down, right? So what they wrote down is, of course, your rent, your gas, electric, your car insurance, and things like that. So they only looked at household bills as your expense, buying food or spending money for clothing for the kids. That is how they view expenses. But please note that your expenses should include every single item that you spend your money on. Now, in saying that, we know that these are going to be estimates. Is a no-brainer. It's going to be estimates because if you went to get tacos last week, you probably don't know how much you spent on tacos, unless you get them so frequently. Then you might say, oh, I spent $12.88 on tacos. But for the most part, these are estimates, right? So again, going back to your expenses, when you list your expenses on your budget, list everything. I even told the group that I was working with, I said, listen, I gave them these examples. I said, if you send your child to the store, um, you know, let's say 4 or 5 times a month to get, I don't know, something from the convenience store, the corner stores, right? I said, if you send your child to the store so sometimes a month, and you give them $5, so that's $20 to $25. That is an expense. It's an expense because you're spending money. You're spending and you're taking away from your income. So that's an expense. I also use the example, if you drink wine every weekend and you know that you spent um, $25, well, that is an expense. That needs to go on your budget. And I also said, and I'm just being truthful because it is what it is. I use the example, if you smoke marijuana and you spend whatever it costs, $20 every time, and within a month you probably spend $100. Okay, well, that's an expense. You have to put those things down because every penny matters. Even I gave another example, when you go to the hair salon and you get your hair done, if it's you and your daughter, whatever that costs, that needs to be on that monthly budget. If you got a son and he gets his hair cut, that needs to be on there. But so I'm trying to paint the picture that every penny, estimated penny, right, that you spend is an expense, and it should absolutely be on your budget. Critical. Because if not, what you're doing is you're shortchanging your budget. You're shortchanging the money that you quote unquote have left over. You're shortchanging it because you're not giving the true statement of your budget. Very, very important. So we cleared up in income. So income is the money that you get in, regardless of what source it comes from. Income is income, okay? Your expenses, yes, include your household, your regular household bills, your telephone bills, your rent, mortgage, water bill, gas, electric, cable, yes, include it. But also include if you get your hair done, um, X amount of times a month. You get the haircuts X amount of times a month. You buy cigarettes, you know, marijuana, weed, whatever, weed, wine, whatever. Include all of those things. I'm getting around to be more specific. What I'm saying is that be true to your budget. Put every expense on there. Okay, I just wanted to clear that up, make that as crystal clear as I absolutely could because it makes a difference. All right, and now the next thing that should be included on your budget is what's called the difference. And the difference is just that. We learned this in elementary school, right? The difference is what is left over after you subtract income and your expenses. What's left over? What's left over? Now, in working with the group that I referred to earlier, um, that was this process was a challenge. So I just want to be clear that know your income, know what you get in your home. I don't care how much income you get. I don't care what source it comes from. Identify that income. Identify the source, and that's your income. Your difference. The difference is again. I'm sorry. The expenses. The expenses is everything that you spend your money on estimated. Some things is going to be exact, like exactly how much your rent is, so that's going to be exact. But some items you may not know, and it's just an estimate. I estimate I spend $40 a pay on Amazon, or whatever it is, but put that on there. And then the difference is what you have left over. Now the question is, what do you do with whatever is left over? That is the question. Okay? So, in this particular session, I really wanted to take time to get everyone to understand the idea of a budget. And the reason is, again, the reason is because you want to become familiar with your money. Once you become familiar with your budget, meaning that you clearly understand that I get X amount of dollars, you clearly understand that I'm spending X amount of money on these said expenses, and you clearly understand that this is the money that I roughly have left over, then we'll be able to work. Okay, and the reason why this has to be crystal clear is because, referencing back to that initial group that I talked about, um, the problem was that because they did not necessarily write their budget down, they had the concept all up here. They were completely off kilter when it came down to I have this amount of money left over. They were completely like way off, and it's because they had the concept up here not down on paper, and it also is because they did not list each and everything that they should. And I must say, as I had said, to him, you got to be true to your budget so your budget can be true to you. Your budget is literally like your planning paper. This is your plan. Your budget is your plan, your financial plan, to help you to save, to help you pay off debt, or whatever. And so you got to be true to your budget so then we can really work with what you have left. Okay, so this session is probably one of the shorter sessions that we'll have, and it's because I just really wanted to lay out what a budget is, what it entails, what it should look like. And like I said at the very beginning, your budget should be a reflection of you. I just challenge you all to make your own budget as long as it has the income, the expenses, and the difference. That is a budget. It doesn't have to be in any fancy way, no fancy format. You don't have to use a template. I've had people send me their budgets. I thought I had pull one out, but I had people send me their budgets, and they hand wrote it. Fine, fine, perfect. Just as long as it's true to your household, true to the earnings that you make, true to the expenses, true to what you have over that. That's definitely fine. So again, short session today, focus on the budget. Send the budgets back to me. Send the budgets back to me. On the next class, I'm going to actually go over a budget or budgets that are sent in. So definitely please share your budgets, if you feel comfortable. Only if you feel comfortable. But we'll go over it, just a quick review about everything. So guys, that's about it. For this session, I wanted to keep it really short and sweet, right to the point. So I think we accomplished that today. But if you have not had an opportunity, please, for whatever, go to the website, and the website is Affordable Living Services. Um, AffordableLivingServices.com. And if you want to send me an email, the email is affordablelivingservices at gmail.com. If you want advice, or what should I do, or how do I structure my budget, or whatever, just money questions or whatever, just send it to that email. Okay, so until next week, you guys be safe and take care, and I will talk to you next Monday. Bye.